Good evening and welcome to another edition of Harmonics. Today's guest is Kylee Cox, one of the great young guitarists coming up on our music scene. Kylee, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such an honor to have you here, and you're such a pleasurable person to know, which we do know each other.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to have you on. But I'd like to really, just because we only have so much time, I'd really like to just get into your life.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, when was the first time you wanted to play guitar, or what made you want to get into guitar? How old were you?
So my dad got me a guitar when I was 4, and it was this pink Hannah Montana guitar.
Excellent.
And it was about a 3/4 size, so it's kind of tiny. And I started to strum it occasionally, and then I got guitar lessons around the age of 6 or so, and that's when I really started to play guitar. And from then on, it just progressed until I am here now.
So when you're talking about did you take lessons at an early age, you said, or your dad showed you? I know your dad's a big influence in your mom and your little brother, but did you know what you were doing, or was your dad showing you chords, or?
Yeah, it was kind of both. I had no idea what I was doing at the start.
Beautiful.
But with guitar lessons from my dad and a real guitar teacher, I kind of started to learn what to do and how to start soloing and do real songs and all that type of stuff.
What was your first song you did that you can remember?
Enter Sandman by Metallica.
Really? One of the great songs.
Yeah.
So how old were you there about?
I was probably like 7 or so.
7.
Probably,
So you lived in New York, right?
Yeah.
Then you knew that Mario Rivera, that was his entrance when he became a relief pitcher. You want to play a little about that? I just, because I know I wanted to ask you, do you want to play a little bit, just a couple chords on that right now, or you want to hold off on that?
Well, I could show you another song from Jimi Hendrix, another one of my major influences.
Let's do Jimmy. Why don't you do a little bit of that? What is it going to be?
I'll show you Little Wing, the intro.
Oh, that's beautiful.
To it, yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
Let me just tell you, as a musician myself, you inspire me. To do that, it just brings back memories in my life, because I actually got to see Jimmy play live. An exceptional guitar player, and you're an exceptional guitarist yourself.
Thank you.
So what I wanted to ask you, I was watching your hand movement.
Yeah.
How do you play with your nails like that? I mean, how does that, how do you do that?
Yeah.
I mean,
So actually, when I was younger, I didn't know anything on how your nails are supposed to be kind of short. But I kind of grew up with my nails long doing it, so I just got used to it eventually.
Okay.
And now it's just normal for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
so in your life, with your nails, because I was watching, I'm going, it's all in the tips.
It's in the tips, yeah.
So I was watching you play. You have great dexterity, and you have great feel. You could tell immediately. The thing here is like, so when you were going through your transition of being a guitar player, and in your life, and obviously your father and mother were a big influence, but it was basically, how much time were you putting in practicing every day as a young child, and how much do you put in today?
Yeah, so I practiced a lot when I was young, so with my dad especially, I would practice around close to an hour a day.
Good.
And still I practice like about an hour still a day. And now that I'm in a band, I have to practice a lot more to make sure I get all my songs down and fast too.
So what is your favorite key to play in?
Right now, it's just E. It's for me E minor. It's one of the.
Amen.
Yeah.
So when you're in a band, you said you're in a band. We're going to get to School of Rock too. But are you in the school band also?
No, I'm not. Just because every Saturday there's a very long practice, and I don't have that much time to do it because of other gigs I have.
So when you play, when you're at home,
Yeah.
and you just you're by yourself or with your family or in your room where you have your little practice room,
Yeah.
what do you like to do? What do you like to concentrate on? Are you obviously your pentatonics and all of that and minors. What do you like to do? What do you do?
I'm in a show plus the band, but the show part I have to focus on getting those parts down. So most of the time I would practice that first, and then I would go into some scales sometimes or practicing music theory overall. And that's mostly about it. Mostly consists of songs though.
So do you read music or do you memorize it in your mind? Because there is certain patterns that go over and over, and you kind of change them with whatever you might do, just how you're playing. So when you're doing this, in some, besides you name, like obviously Hendrix is an influence, which is it's just beautiful. What are some of your other influences that you grasp out? And who do you else take from?
So definitely James Hetfield. I've listened to Metallica since I was so young, so definitely him. Plus Kirk Hammett too. But
I know Kirk. Very great man.
So all the big bands like Metallica or Jimmy Page.
Another great influence.
Yeah.
So do you ever like say like, obviously we live in an age of electronics and we have YouTube, and you ever watch Jimmy Page play on exceptional, just an exceptional, he's just one of the greatest. I was watching him and Page today. I was really actually raring up to see you because I know that you're full of energy and you have this this beautiful aura about yourself.
Thank you.
And I think it all stems from your family, but you have a beautiful sense of who you are. I think you really know who you are. You're a guitar player, I look at you as you have like this, you have an upside so tremendous, so keep doing that. So when you're at home, do you do any of your own stuff and you just fool around or do any kind of progressions, or do you like blues? Do you listen to a lot of blues?
Some blues. I don't listen to too much blues. It's mostly classic rock and classic metal. But I haven't started working on original music just yet.
Okay.
Just focused on other songs and doing covers of those songs.
That's where it all starts. So I want to tell you about her. She just was on tour in summertime. And she went with School of Rock?
Yep.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. So it's called the House Band through School of Rock. And what it is you have a day where you have to audition. And you play a minute of 2 different songs. And then they do a music theory test on you. And you have to show them that you know all about your instrument. And then once you get in, you have to practice, and then we have a 2-hour.
I can understand that.
Yeah, we have a 2-hour rehearsal once a week. So it's on Fridays for me for 4 to 6, and then we had about a month and a half or 2 months or so, and we had to get about 20 songs total as a whole band to go on tour for about a week.
So you had to get in that variation, were you playing all 20 songs also with them?
No, I wasn't. So
how many songs did you play?
I played a lot, but about 15 of them.
15 of the 20 songs? So you were basically on stage a lot.
Yeah.
So what cities did you go to?
We went to Oregon, and we went to Seattle.
Seattle, nice town.
Yeah, so we went places throughout there. So some places we performed at was Star Theater in Portland.
Very nicely done.
Gasworks Park in Seattle.
Very nice, another nice place.
Yeah, and one of the places was also the Peg House.
Another one.
But Yeah, so we performed at some pretty cool places.
So when you were you actually soloing? What instrument? You was electric or
Just
acoustic?
electric.
And so, what is your preferred instrument on electric? What is your electric guitar?
So I have two that I went through on the tour.
Okay.
One of them was my Strat,
Okay.
so it was a Mexican-made Strat.
That's okay.
And then I had a Jackson guitar. It was a Chris Broderick guitar. So I used those two. The Chris Broderick was for the more metal songs, and then the Strat was for the all-around rock songs. Yeah.
So what did you play? What songs were they playing?
Some-
And you played with a full band?
Yeah.
So I mean, okay. So what was the setup like? What was you had a singer too?
So there were 13 people last season,
Wow, that's
It was a
pretty
lot,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
but each song would have about 5 people. So we would switch out between the band to make little mini bands for each song. And that's how we would do it. Our instructor would tell us what songs we're on, and then we'd have to learn them and then rehearse them together.
So, what songs did you actually play? What are some of the songs that you played?
Some of them was Holy Wars by Megadeth, or Pull Me Under, Dream Theater. We did.
Digging this?
Yeah.
I'm digging this. All right.
We did Coach Eyes, Rhiannon from Fleetwood Mac,
Fleet.
and Crazy on You from Heart. So we did a bunch of songs all throughout the
Did you
different
do the
genres.
Crazy on You in Portland? You had to do it in Portland.
did it, yeah.
Of course, people. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're in Seattle too, you were in Seattle. How'd you like Seattle?
It was really cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you travel with everybody or?
Yeah, on a tour bus. We toured with 2 different other School Rocks from Elk Grove and San Diego, and we all were on the same bus, just driving around and touring. But it was really fun. Yeah.
It was fun. So when you're at home, you're saying that you practice a lot of different songs and things. I'm going to give you a little history lesson. Down on Clawwitter, that's where actually Metallica played. That's where they got their start. That's actually just about quarter of a mile down the road. They played in a warehouse where we all played. My bass player actually auditioned, and they played E minor, slow to fast to supersonic fast.
Wow.
That's all they did. They just played E minor the whole time and just
Yeah.
riffing. They were just riffing, watching him do it. Mr. Tony Kateras, who's been also in the show, he's also in Dallas, Texas. Hello, Tony. So in your thing, do you think when you go to college, obviously you're in high school, and are you in the music program there? And you said no,
No, I'm
yes,
not.
you're not.
No.
Is because they don't really. I think they don't. You know, high schools are still not really grabbing on to
Yeah.
what really should be happening. And
Yeah.
what year is this now? Yeah, that's right. It's 2019. So when you're at home, and you're pretty active, I know that, and you practice
Yeah.
every day. You go to School of Rock every day or every other
No.
day?
I go 3 times a week. So
Okay.
I have guitar lessons on Tuesdays, and then I have a show rehearsal without kids from the band. I have that on Wednesdays, and then the actual band rehearsals on Fridays.
So when you go to practice, right? What are they actually showing you? Like, you're pretty well versed anyhow.
Yeah.
But what is making your technique even better?
So every day is different.
Oh.
So when we have our lessons, sometimes if my guitar teacher sees that I need to work more on my songs, we'll work on that. But other days, if my songs are sounding pretty good, we could work on some music theory. So it kind of depends on where I'm at that day.
So when you said you like your key is E, right?
Yeah.
So if are you looking at charts? They got charts for you. So if somebody said to you, "Hey, I'm going to just slip this out. We're going to play a 1, 4, 5, and a 7." Do you know where you're at going in there? Or if somebody shouted that out, or do you have to look at your chart that you know that's going to be, a E, G, B, and an F sharp? What do you do? You have it out in front of you like that?
So most of the times they'll just tell us, and then we have to figure it out on our own. Like for me, sometimes it takes just a little bit, and then I'll eventually figure it out. But everyone's trying to help us get all the music theory kind of ingrained in our minds.
Locked in.
Locked in, yeah. But it's more trying to get it so it's more like a language rather than a foreign concept.
You're absolutely correct. It's mathematics. So when somebody
Yeah.
tells me, when we're rehearsing, my band will say, "Hey, we're going 1, 4, 5." I know what that is immediately. And then a minor 7, I know where we're at. I know what key we're going to go. So it's easy, and you'll find that out the more and more progressive
Yeah.
you go. when you were telling me that you soloed, how did you begin to solo? How did that happen? Was it because of your teacher or your dad? I know your dad's really, really proud of you. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
And your mom too. I want to
Yeah.
give her, you know, and your brother, who I hear every day.
Yeah.
You know, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So, what when you practice or when your dad practices, he gives you hints or how did you start learning to play lead guitar when it started? How did you know to play them, you know, the riffs and all of that?
I started by learning the pentatonic scales, which most people, that's what they start with.
Right.
And then from there, my guitar teacher, that's kind of when I started learning more solos. So of course my dad, he did show me some solo riffs, but most of it came from my guitar teacher. And then from that, I worked into going into different modes and trying to make my solos kind of different and unique in their own way.
You know, I wanted to point out to, you know, while we're having this interview with Kylee, she's also was from the East Coast.
Yeah.
So you have friends in the East Coast,
Yeah.
and she has friends on the West Coast. So tell me how do you have interactions still with them, because you're coast to coast, you know. So tell me how does that work for you? Is being on both sides? Do you have a band or friends that used to play back in the day with you when you were over there as a youngster? You're still young. I mean, what am I saying? You know.
But for me, most of my friends in New York didn't play an instrument. I had about maybe 2 or 3 friends that played guitar with me. But most of them, I still keep in contact. I would text them every once in a while.
Okay.
And then last summer, for example, we just went to New York, so I got to see all of them. And most of the time, I don't have so much like musical contact over there anymore, because most of my musicianship came from California now, I would say. But
Beautiful.
I still, when I lived in New York, I was in a band too, but it was with kids all my age. The oldest person was probably about 7th grade or so, so we're all still really young. And we were called the Black Fedoras.
Okay.
And we all wore black fedoras.
Okay.
But I started doing lead there too, but most of it still came from here.
So do you like to, when you're playing and you're playing loud, or you're playing loud, right? We have to play loud. Yeah. Louder. Play it louder, we always say. Or Eddie Kramer used to say that. So when you're playing, and so what is your setup? What is your setup? Tell me what your setup, your boxes, your amp. What's your setup?
So my main amp that I use is a Marshall. I have a Marshall, and then
of course.
Yeah.
That's the way to be.
I have a pedal board. It's by Boss. I don't know the exact model, but it's a digital one. And then I have a bunch of pedals from Boss as well. And then I have a full tone OCD pedal. I have
excellent.
Yeah.
You need that. You need that.
I have a wah pedal. I have some distortion and reverb and chorus. So
Do you go cordless or do you carry a cord?
most of the time, like the chord pedals, I don't use those as often because most of the music I play doesn't need it, but I will bring it when I know I'm going to be playing something.
So out of all the genres that you're playing, you know, and your favorite is heavy metal?
It's more classic rock, I would say.
Okay.
But metal is definitely a second.
So when you say classic rock, give me a song, or give me some songs that you play that you really like. I think you named a few, but what like say? Do you do anything by Zeppelin? Do you do any of that? Any of them?
I was actually in a Zeppelin show with my music school, so when I was in it, some of the songs I did was Nobody's Fault But Mine.
Great tune.
Or Tangerine.
Another great tune.
Stairway to Heaven.
Of course.
That's a must. But so songs like that are some Led Zeppelin ones I know.
Have you ever tried Kashmir? It's my favorite
haven't.
song.
I learned it
One of my favorite songs, I should say.
Yeah. I learned it on the keyboard though for a show, but I never got assigned to play it on guitar, so I haven't got a chance to learn it.
So in your School of Rock, you go there 3 times. You must really enjoy it. So you can see it where we just
Yeah.
So when you're there, obviously you're a guitar hero. That's how I look at you as, and really you're a guitar hero.
Thank you.
You know, and I want people to know that. That's right. So anyhow, when you're actually playing, you know, in front of
Yeah.
those. Do you have a good interaction? Are you just are you a interactive kind of player, or you kind of hold back a little bit? I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of like move around a little bit, or you just stay
Yeah.
stationary right now?
I try to move around as much as I can,
Mm-hmm.
but for example, before my tour, I wasn't moving around as much,
Mhm.
but then after I started moving around a lot. So, because I got in a position where everyone around me had such great stage presence, so I wanted to be like them.
Mm-hmm.
So now I would say that I have good stage presence, and I try to make other people move around too. So like I come up to them, kind of bob my head or something
Yeah,
like that.
you're kind of
But-
bobbing and weaving with them.
Yeah.
So, lady guitarists that are big.
Yeah.
I had a great one that came on my show, Lynn Kilcourt. You should see her. She's really absolutely an amazing guitar player. She's playing a long, long time. Lydia Ford. You listen to Lydia at all?
No, I haven't.
You got to listen to Lydia.
Okay.
Lydia goes way back. You should also listen like to Joan Jett. She's a rhythm guitar
Yeah.
player. Rhythm is really, really a good thing. Do you ever listen to the Stones at all? I'm just going to throw some things out at you.
No.
Have you ever listened to? Your dad probably has. Have you ever listened? I want you to, because I know you want to get into blues or stuff. I would suggest that you listen to early Fleetwood Mac. I think you might like
Okay.
that. You know, Peter Green.
Yeah.
You know, Danny Kirkman and Jeremy Spencer. 3 guitar players right up in front, all great players. Do you ever listen to The Who?
I do occasionally, but they're not. I don't listen to them too much.
So what do you see yourself like? You're so young and so talented.
yeah.
What do you see? Are you going to go to college eventually? You think and study theory?
Oh,
Or
well,
just go to
with
play?
theory. I want to keep on doing music, but I know it's going to be kind of hard
Of
with
course.
jobs and stuff.
Yes.
So I was thinking throughout college I could be in a band still, besides doing that in college classes. But right now, I want to be a criminal psychiatrist. So,
I love that. That's awesome.
so while I'm going to school for that, I was thinking that I could do music on the side
Of course
and
you
do
can.
gigging, and because I don't want to lose all of my musicianship on guitar, so I definitely want to keep on playing.
So Blue Voodoo will invite her on the show. We'll bring her up on. You can play with us. You know, it's really nice that you're still you're looking ahead, but you know what? It isn't an enjoyment. This is like your friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could be by yourself, right? And you could. It's kind of like when I seen you when we were at a party together, and Kylee is my neighbor, and the minute I seen her, I knew that she was a special person, just like her little brother in the family, the Cox family. But I knew when she told me she played guitar, her eyes. The first time I met you, your eyes brightened up. I play guitar. I go, oh, this is great. And so I waited. I didn't want to just jump in and get you. I really appreciate you being here. You are truly. You're beyond your years.
Thank you.
You know, you should be very proud of yourself, and always hold your head high, because see, you have another aspiration where you want to be a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
You know, which is amazing. So make sure that in your life that you always listen to your parents.
Yeah.
You know, always listen to
Yeah.
your parents, and you're just. You know what? You're just a beautiful person.
Thank you.
You know, and I'm glad that you're on the show. And you said that you were going to play classical gas. And you want to play that, and then we'll say goodbye to our audience
Sure.
on TV. So there you go. She's going to play it. what's wonderful about that? I'm going to tell you a little thing. You live in a house
Yeah.
that is a beautiful house. The neighbor prior to the person that sold the house to your parents, the first person that lived there were the Sipples, Cindy and Jim. His favorite song?
Was it classical?
Classical, yes.
Oh.
This is absolutely amazing. I want to thank Kylee for being my guest today.
Thank
You're
you.
truly an amazing person. Never stop. It's a pleasure. God,
Thank
it's
you.
a pleasure. All I can say is that you bring brightness to the world.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you came on the show. Tell all your girlfriends and all your guy friends, hey, she's badass. So this is Gregory Correa from Harmonics. Once again, I'd like to thank all of you for watching our show to be the most watched West Coast independent TV show on music. I'd like to thank Kylee Cox for being here, playing for us. Can you dig it? And what we normally do, Kylee, if you just throw out a kiss and we just put peace and love up.
Okay.
Can we do this? Ready? Peace and love to y'all. See you again. This is Gregory Correa and Kylee Cox. Love y'all. Peace.